in-game day.
And welcome to those of you who have seen the Oilers blast the Bengals 35-3 in the Astrodome. Tom Hammond and Joe Namath from Foxborough Stadium. We're scoreless in the first quarter, each team punting on its first possession. Denver Broncos have it with a first down at their own 10. The ball carrier, Greg Lewis, slips down and then is covered for a loss on the play. Tim Goad and Brent Williams make sure that Lewis didn't get up to run after he had slipped. Now you'll notice that the footing on this field is a little bad, especially in the center of the field. It's pretty chewed up. Joe, as we were looking at the field yesterday, it's rooted the grass in sand, and the sand exposed in many spots on the field.
Yeah, it's a very soft field, but I'll tell you, the injury factors come into play. With this soft field, the Patriots have had far fewer injuries than in the past on the old artificial type surface.
Well, that old surface was brutal here, hard as concrete. 5 defensive backs now as the Patriots, true to form, go quickly to their nickel defense. Elway attacks it and delivers it complete. A short gain only to the 15-yard line. Steve Sewell makes the catch there and is immediately covered by David Howard. Third down specialist Sewell gets a second down reception there.
Yes, but it's still good defense. Sewell will find the open spot. The David Howard, the linebacker, is going to be right there. They'll give up a 5 or 6, 7-yard completion on 2nd and 15. Now they have a 3rd and 6. So the New England linebackers actually would give up that kind of short pass in that situation.
6 defensive backs for the Patriots. From the shotgun. Elway in trouble. Great escape by Elway. And he's got a first down out of bounds at the 25-yard line. The athletic ability of John Elway once again coming to the fore there. He was trapped, he got away and got a first down.
It's awful tough to defense this, folks. You're trying to rush people in there to harass the quarterback, and Elway, the gifted athlete's able to fight through Andre Tippett's grab, then get the first down with his speed. There's only one John Elway, folks. He's one of the best.
10-yard run and a Broncos first down. A week ago against Kansas City, he made that key play, a planned scramble, 71-yard completion to Jackson, setting up the winning field goal. Key play right there for Elway. Changing the play, Elway. It's a run to Lewis. Lewis bounces to the outside across the 30 to the 32-yard line. And here's a look at our Cannon 10-minute ticker as the Oilers, as Eric Wilhelm and the Bengals remain winless. Boomer not playing today. Chicago leading New Orleans. That would be the Saints' first defeat. And San Francisco beats the Eagles in Philly. Atlanta, surprisingly, the margin over the Rams. And here is a look at the late starting games. No score yet. And here at Foxborough, 0-0. Broncos with the ball. A handoff is to Robert Perryman. And Perryman, the former Patriot player, tackled by David Howard after a gain of a yard or so. Perryman went to Dallas last year as he'd been a starter before he was sent out of here. Some involvement with the Lisa Olson episode, and Perryman went to Dallas and then was picked up by the Broncos as a Plan B free agent in the offseason.
Used more as a blocker than he has been, certainly as a runner. This situation, 3rd and short, I think favors John Elway's offense.
John Elway has been calling his own plays most of the season, but he and Coach Dan Reeves sharing those duties now. Swing pass complete to Sewell for the first down at midfield and finally out of bounds in Patriot territory at about the 45-yard line. Fred Marion and David Howard combining to get him out of bounds, but Sewell took Elway's pass and rambled for 21 yards.
Well, Sewell had an escort out there, too. I believe it was Doug Wydell, his guard, number 67. On the right side of the screen, you see this is a play where he can go downfield. It's not there. Now get it out to Sewell. Look at the blocking out in front of Sewell. Beautifully designed play. And you see Doug Wydell, who had been down there blocking Eric Howard. Not Eric Howard, David Howard, Tom. Come on.
Don't get me in this. John Elway has hit 3 of his first 4 passes for 32 yards. Broncos with a first down just inside the Patriot 45. Scoreless first quarter. Lewis. Got 2. Johnny Rembert stacked it up for the Patriots. Got a lot of help. Dan Reeves told us yesterday he still has a lot of respect for Joe Collier. He just thought the man needed to be let go, and he said it hurt him, and he knows it hurts Joe, and he says he still has a lot of respect and certainly wouldn't be drawn into any name-calling battles with Joe Collier.
Well, the guy that took Joe Collier's place, Wade Phillips, has done a fine job out there, so you can't fault Coach Reeves for that change.
Pitch to Lewis. Defense ready for it, and somehow he escapes three would-be tacklers to pound close to the first down. Fred Marion finally forced him out of bounds.
Well, it's the two-sided coin. It's either bad tackling or good running. I think Greg Lewis just broke those tackles with his strong effort.
Greg Lewis, the rookie from Washington, fifth-round draft choice, stepping in to replace the injured Gaston Green, who is inactive today. 3rd and a yard, and the Broncos quickly go for it. Elway on the sneak.
Interesting. They got right up to the line again in that short situation without a huddle.
And a simple play to call. Elway called his own number and took it for the first down.
We mentioned the play calling duties of Elway at this point. It has revitalized John, you may say. However, most of the time the first and second down play is usually called by the sideline, at least talked over with John Elway, and he has an option of changing things. And when he feels good with the play, certainly he's going to call the one he likes.
Off to a good start as you see his numbers. 10th play of the drive coming up. It started at the Bronco 10. Lewis picking his way inside the 30 down to the 28-yard line. Ray Agnew tripped him up. As we said, Lewis starting in place of Gaston Green. It's the second consecutive start for Lewis. Gaston Green continues to be sidelined by a thigh injury. It's kind of mystified the Broncos. They had an x-ray this week. Nothing wrong doing the x-rays, but Green unable to go. And he had been one of the top rushers in the AFC, over 550 yards. Didn't play at all against Kansas City and inactive today. Bobby Humphrey, though, is back and will likely play this afternoon. Lewis certainly is getting the workhorse duties early as he carries, which would appear to be a Bronco first down.
Well, Lewis is not the breakaway threat Bobby Humphrey is, number 26 on your screen, nor the breakaway threat of Greg Bell. Humphrey, he's been in camp a week and change now. Coach Reeves said he was surprised at the good condition that Bobby Humphrey brought with him back to the Broncos. Of course, Humphrey hasn't been hit, so that's a kind of conditioning he's only going to get when he gets in the game.
Gaston Green had done a great job replacing Humphrey, but Humphrey now back after a 97-day holdout. Lewis again, that's his 7th carry in the first half. He's to the 18-yard line, carrying Eugene Lockhart and Johnny Rembert along with him.
But there's some good blocking. I mean, Crawford Kerr pulled out that time, and he blocked to the outside. 68 will pull. Carts is taking a couple of guys. There you see 68 kicking out on the linebacker, Howard. I tell you, what we're seeing right now is very good for the Broncos. They're able to gain yardage on the ground against what New England thinks is their forte, the rushing defense.
And Bobby Humphrey has come in as Greg Lewis, after that last hit, asked to be taken out. So Humphrey, with his first appearance of the season, gets the call and gets hit immediately by Johnny Rembert. Bobby Humphrey's first carry of 1991. Be lucky to net a yard.
Oh, boy. Welcome back to the league, buddy. Oh, my goodness. That's a good hit by Johnny Rembert. Of course, you want to key on Humphreys. Going to the sideline right now because it's a 3rd and passing situation. But anytime Bobby Humphrey's in that game, if I'm a defensive player, that's the first guy I'm looking for.
6 defensive backs in. The 14th play of the drive. 3rd and 5. Elway in the shotgun. This possession over 7 minutes long already. Elway for the corner, broken up. Maurice Hurst knocked the ball to the turf. Good defense by the New England Patriots. As Maurice Hurst, with perfect position, knocks the pass down intended for Michael Young.
You called it, Tom. Perfect position. He's going to stay with Young, and he'll break underneath Young. He'll nearly intercept this ball. Look at this positioning by Maurice Hurst. Couldn't be any better. Could not be any better. Elway's throwing that ball now, folks, on a timing situation. He doesn't believe that Hurst is going to be that close to his receiver. And as an ex-quarterback, I have to agree with Elway. Your receiver's supposed to get better separation than that. I just think it was an outstanding defensive play.
David Treadwell from 35 yards. Mr. Automatic is true to form, and the Broncos take the lead. David Treadwell, after a long drive, hits a 35-yard field goal, and the Broncos break on top. To the most improved teams in the NFL, the Broncos and the Patriots from Foxborough, and Broncos take the ball at their own 10, drive down to get a 35-yard field goal from David Treadwell to lead 3-0. David Treadwell had 4, including the game winner against Kansas City last week. Treadwell to kick off now. John Vaughn, the deep man, along with Marvin Allen for the Patriots. Short kick by Treadwell. Vaughn sees it bounce at the 10, takes it on the hop. Vaughn to the outside. Knocked out of bounds around the 30-yard line. Good return by John Vaughn. Charles Dimry nudged him out of bounds. So Hugh Millen and the New England Patriots take over the football, trailing 3-0.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering. By Liberty Mutual. We're our customers' advocate at Liberty Mutual because we understand the costs involved. By First Brands Corporation, makers of Prestone Advanced Formula Antifreeze. And by Norelco patented lift and cut shavers. We make clothes comfortable.
Approaching 4:30 in the East, and with the time change, the lights on here at Foxborough Stadium. Hugh Millen and the Patriots now trailing 3-0 take over, and that has to be a confidence builder for Millen. His best day as a pro, 326 yards passing against Minnesota last week. Patriots pulled out the win on the last play of overtime. Millen goes long. Incomplete. Intended for Irving Fryer, who broke open across the middle. The pass a little high, and Fryer hit just as the ball got there by Steve Atwater, the all-pro safety.
Oh, sure. Fryer's wide open here. Millen leads him too far inside. You see the corner Braxton lose Fryer. Look at all this room there, but the ball's thrown too far inside, and there comes Steve Atwater. And I know Fryer had to anticipate that hit. Ball should have been outside. Fryer did a fine job getting open. Millen was off target.
Not only did it cause an incompletion, it exposed Fryer's ribs to that hit by the tough Atwater. John Vaughn in the lineup goes in motion. Fumble. Millen fell on it.
Fumble on the snap, recovered by
Dick McPherson said after that tough 5-quarter game on last Sunday, he gave the players Monday off, and he felt that he probably shouldn't have because they were a little sluggish this week in practice.
Well, he felt like they should get out there and run after talking to the trainers or whatever. He felt like there's something in the system there with the lactic acid to where if you don't get out there after the game the next day and you let it stay in the system, it's tougher to get out and get that energy back.
Diamond formation for the New England Patriots. Timpson is in at a wide receiver, 3 of them. Stevens in the backfield. Millen with time. And the pass complete to the 35-yard line. Marv Cook, who leads all tight ends in the NFL. That was his 41st reception. It's short of the first down, however, as he was tackled by Randy Robbins. And with time running out in the first quarter, Cook looks a little shaken up after that hit.
I'll tell you, the Patriots took a timeout because they want to punt the ball with the wind, Tom.
4 seconds left in the first quarter as the Patriots take a timeout. Well, as dusk approaches, the wind is picking up, so that's why the Patriots, Joe, called timeout with 4 seconds left in the first quarter in a punting situation.
Sure, Sean McCarthy kicked the ball the last time down to the 10-yard lines. However, Denver put together a nice drive for the field goal. This wind should aid the punt to 10-15 yards.
Vance Johnson deep for Denver. McCarthy's kick is a good one with a wind. Johnson, it is 9. And good coverage. Eugene Lockhart sort of influenced Johnson to go to the turf. Never really hit him, but he'll go down after a 56-yard punt. We'll be back. Denver Broncos will take over when we come back. And, of course, John Elway, one of the premier quarterbacks in the league, made the big play against Kansas City last week, a 71-yard pass right in the closing stages of the game. And, you know, He covered 60-some yards in the air with that. And Elway is one of the quarterbacks that takes a big windup with that football when he lets it go.
That's partially where he gets his strength. When he gets that ball, he'll bring it down to his hip and up and around, where you see Marino, Montana, some of the more accurate passes. They'll throw from right here and whip the ball. Now, you do get more velocity with that windup, but you do lose a little bit in your accuracy.
You used to throw it with a short windup, right?
I used to throw it from the ear. I believe in teaching a youngster when they begin to throw to get the ball up by the ear and throw from here. There's more room for air with a big motion, a big windup, so your accuracy will suffer.
All right, Elway and company with the ball here. And, you know, Joe, I noticed that guys like Jay Schrader and John Elway, the former baseball players, sometimes are the ones that take a baseball windup.
That's right. That's right. They're taught at an early age to wind up and throw, and they do the same with the football.
Flag down. Elway still has the ball. Sacked inside the 5. Andre Tippett, the veteran linebacker, with his 5.5. How do you say that? 5.5 sacks now this season. It went for a -15.
There's Andre Tippett giving a little bit of thanks to his friends downfield who did the coverage. You see Tippett gets through there. Elway has time but can't find a receiver. Now he tries to outrun the agile Tippett, and there's no chance.
Well, I never heard a call on the penalty marker. They must have waved it off, or it was against Denver, and they refused it, whatever it was. The sack stands, making it 2nd and 23. And the double X defense for New England, that's their nickel. Draw play, the hand to Sewell. Short gain, a couple of yards. Tackle by Tim Gordon and Mickey Washington, two of the men that come into the defense on the double X.
Well, Tim Gordon's in there, and he's spying Sewell in the backfield. Coach McPherson has a variety of defenses he uses that Joe Collier implements, and that time it was perfect. Gordon spied Sewell and picked him up as soon as he came out of the backfield.
3rd and 21 for the Broncos inside their own 10-yard line. They lead 3-0. Elway delivers way downfield, too far. The pass intended for Michael Young. Elway threw it as far as he could, but too far for Michael Young.
Well, Elway's got to be upset with himself, folks, because the receiver was open and John just got it over his head a little bit. For what reason, we don't know for sure, whether it was just an overthrow or the receiver took a misstep. But John Elway had an open man and wasn't pleased with that play.
There we saw that big windup, and man, did he ever send it downfield.
It was a rocket.
He's hit 50% of his passes so far. Horan is on to punt. First one was a good one. From his own end zone. Henderson backpedals and takes it at the 35-yard line. Trying to get behind the wall. Down the sideline and out of bounds in Denver territory at the 44-yard line. 59-yard punt, but a 23-yard return. Sharp on the tackle. Denver still leads.
Jeff Sweeney.
Good field position for the Patriots, and center Gene Chilton, number 63, who is playing with a bandaged finger. He suffered a dislocation in the game last week against Minnesota. The bone actually protruded through the skin. He had to have surgery after the game. He has it wrapped with a brace on it for the game today. Hand is to Russell. Leonard Russell powering his way forward. Got about 3 yards to the 40, stopped by the center of the Denver defense. Here is our Miller Genuine Draft Light 10-minute ticker. Bengals still winless. Chicago knocks New Orleans from the unbeaten. San Francisco with a big road win in Philly. Surprising how easily the Falcons beat the Rams, and Green Bay blanking Tampa Bay. Richard Williamson may be in big trouble. Cleveland breaks on top of Pittsburgh, and Seattle leads San Diego. Trying to get outside. Leonard Russell does just that. Gets a block from McMurtry and is inside the Denver 20. Marv Cook was out in front leading the interference as well, and it went for 17 yards.
Check out this blocking on the right side and then the running of Leonard Russell. Russell told us yesterday if he runs hard, it fires up his offensive lineman. Just some nice blocking out front. Then there's McMurtry downfield, blocking. Cook made a good block there, but Russell says when he runs hard, his offensive linemen get fired up, and it just lifts the whole team.
Here's Russell, the rookie. 6 carries for 28 yards in this game. 2 tight ends in this formation. Pitch it on the end around. Irving Fryer got 8 or 9 yards before he was knocked out of bounds by Steve Atwater. Let's go to Bob Costas now for an update in New York.
Tom, the Redskins are the only undefeated team left in the league. The Saints had been 7-0, but the Bears catch them at the wire on this 12-yarder from Jim Harbaugh to Tom Waddle with 54 seconds to go. So New Orleans is upset at the Superdome. Bears 20, Saints 17.
There we go.
All right, Bob, and here at Foxborough, Denver leading 3-0, but the Patriots threatening. 12 minutes remaining in the second quarter. 2nd and 1 for Hugh Millen and his Patriot offense. Again, 2 tight ends, Cook and Coates. I formation. Ivy Joe Hunter, the fullback, gets the handoff, and he's to the 5-yard line and a first down. Kenny Walker made the tackle, but not before Ivy Joe Hunter pounded for first down yardage. 1st and goal, New England.
Well, Ivy Joe Hunter hitting up in there behind Riccozzi right there on the right side, and Chilton, the center, makes a nice block. Kenny Walker jumps on the back to take him down, but that's some awful fine blocking up front by this New England line.
1st and goal, New England. Inside the 20 this season, they've scored 14 of 17 times. 6 touchdowns, 8 field goals. And play stopped before it gets going. It looked like Pat Harlow, the rookie right tackle of the Patriots, may have raised up from his stance.
False start. Prior to the snap. Number 77, 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
But that's the kind of mistake that can kill you, Joe. If 1st and goal at the 5, now it's 1st and goal, but just inside the 10-yard line, and that's reminiscent of the Patriot team of a year ago, which made critical mistakes like that.
Oh, that's true. And you wonder why guys make those mistakes. I'll tell you one reason why. Harlow's certainly concerned with Warren Powers' play, number 91. Powers has Harlow a little on edge.
Millen will pass, completes it to Russell, dodges one man, but then is taken for a loss on the play. Back beyond the 10-yard line as Atwater and Henderson came up in a hurry. Russell had the reception, but not much more. And McPherson's team now with 2nd and goal, and in reverse as far as the yardage is concerned.
Well, I could see McPherson's team going to Irving Fryer down here. It's an area of the field that you usually get man-for-man play out of the defense. Denver's defense reacted beautifully the last time to stop that play, but I would expect the kind of man coverage down here, and I'd look for Cook or Irving Fryer to get open.
Wade Phillips told us they would double cover Fryer on 1st and 2nd downs. 2nd and 12. Plenty of time for Miller. Completes the pass to the 4-yard line. It'll be 3rd and goal coming up. Pass caught by Marv Cook, his 2nd reception of the day. Mike Kroll and Carl Mecklenburg, 2 right side linebackers, came over to make the stop on Cook.
Cook's tough. He's out there playing on a badly sprained ankle. He couldn't practice much this week, but he's doing his best. He gets a lot of pre-snap reads. Cook's a very headsy player. When he gets up to the line of scrimmage, he studies the defense before the snap, and that gives him a little edge on what kind of coverage he's going to get.
McMurtry, Fryer, and Timpson, 3 wide receivers. Stevens, the only setback. 3rd and goal. Stevens in motion. Draw play, Millen to the 2. It'll be 4th and goal, and the field goal unit on its way out. Kenny Walker, the rookie nose tackle of the Broncos, getting the start today out of Nebraska, make the hit.
You know, this defense of the Broncos have seen a number 7 run this draw play many times in practice against their own mates. John Elway's made this play very successful, so I'm a little surprised they tried the quarterback draw. As I say, the Bronco defense has seen it many times. Maybe not from the Patriots, but with the way the play succeeded, I don't expect to see it many more times from the Patriots either.
That 42-yarder a week ago by Starofsky. won the game after he had missed a field goal earlier. And this chip shot is good by Jason Starosky from 20 yards out. And the Patriots have tied the score at 3.
Domino's Pizza. Call Domino's Pizza right now and you'll be enjoying a hot, delicious pizza during halftime.
And Joe Namath from Foxborough Stadium. 3-3 game with 8:29 remaining in the first half. New England tying it up with a field goal. Dick McPherson's team. No fear in McPherson. We asked him about the pronunciation of that name and his enthusiasm. Joe, how do veteran players react to this rah-rah kind of stuff?
Well, talking with Andre Tippett earlier, he said, you know, the guys kind of sat back. They wanted to see if this was going to be a college rah-rah type coaching situation. Well, it's not. McPherson has the enthusiasm, but he treats these guys like men, and they appreciate that.
The kick is short. I don't know if they planned it that way or not. It comes to the 25-yard line after bouncing around, finally recovered by the Denver Broncos. 3-3 game. We'll be right back.
And that's that. By IGT Corporation, building people's dreams. And by the employee owners of Avis, we try harder.
Foxborough Stadium in the gloaming with the Broncos and the Patriots tied at 3. Vincent Brown, New England's leading tackler this season, makes his first appearance on the field. Suffered a sprained knee against Minnesota a week ago. Don't know how long he can play, but he's in there now. 1st and 10 for John Elway and the Broncos. Elway in the shotgun. After the play fake, he delivers it on one hop, incomplete. Intended for Derek Russell.
You know, I'm a little surprised to see Elway going over to Maurice Hurst's side of the field. Hurst is the better cover of the two corners. When Lepet is in there on 1st down, he's in there primarily to stop the run, and John Elway has chosen to throw to the side of Maurice Hurst, the best coverage man, and that surprises me a bit.
Broncos, both John Elway and Dan Reeves, saying they wanted to keep New England off balance, passing against their run defense and running against their nickel. They've got the nickel on the field now, do the Patriots. Elway's hit 3 of his first 7 passes. This one is complete. Derek Russell makes the catch and is twisted down after a gain of about 7 yards to the 33. Maurice Hurst, covering Russell once again, made the tackle.
That's one of those plays that is a good play for the offense and a good play for the defense. Defense didn't give up the 1st down, but the offense bought enough of it back on the right side of your screen. You'll see Russell come in and then Hurst make the play. Here we go. Nice catch.
Elway had missed 3 passes in a row before he connected with Russell there, and it's 3rd down and 2. Elway's pass incomplete. And the Broncos will have to punt. Again, good coverage. David Poole knocked the ball away from Ricky Nattiel that time. And the Patriots, last in the NFL in pass defense, have looked pretty good through 2 quarters here.
They certainly have, but 2 of those passes were misfires on John Elway's behalf. The first one to his receiver on 1st down, he missed him. And this last play, the receiver was open, and John just was a little off target. Threw it too low into the ground.
Henderson standing at his own 20 for Horan's punt. 3-3 game in the 2nd quarter. Henderson backpedals to his 10. Another good return by Jerome Henderson. Had one a while ago that set up a field goal. That one covered 16 yards after a 57-yard boot. We'll take a timeout in a 3-3 game. But there is a penalty marker down. Let's wait for the ruling on the penalty. Could be a clip against New England, which would nullify that good return. Well, a moment ago, a penalty costly to New England.
An illegal block on the return. Number 83, blocking below the waist. 1st down, timeout.
Timpson blocking below the waist will set the Patriots back deep into their own territory. They'll have the ball when we return to Foxborough, tied at 3. The young lady on the right, Lisa Coles, is the Patriots cheerleading coordinator, who happens to be the fiance of the Pats quarterback, Hugh Millen. Plan to be married in February. perhaps in Europe, they were telling us yesterday. Hand off to Leonard Russell, fighting for yardage. A determined run by Russell that nets him about 4 or 5. Dennis Smith finally makes the stop, the strong safety. And Lisa, watching her fiance hand off, applauds the efforts by Leonard Russell. You notice at the end of the game, the overtime win for the Pats last week, that Coach McPherson got in several hugs on Lisa, I noticed. In fact, came back for a couple. She's no dummy. Dillon hands to the tailback Russell. Leonard Russell carrying the ground game for the Patriots this afternoon thus far. That one got him a yard at best. Carl Mecklenburg, the veteran linebacker, made the stop for the Broncos.
A yard at best for sure. Russell's running hard, breaking tackles, but that time Mecklenburg and his mates won the battle at the line of scrimmage. This defense is playing much better than they did last year. I mentioned earlier they had 4 new faces on the defense, but this young man right here, Mecklenburg, he has just played quality football throughout his career. What a leader. What a player this man is.
Young man.
Young man. That's right. Well, young compared to us.
9 years in the league, Mecklenburg. Third down play. The Patriots, Miller is sacked back at the 10-yard line. The protection collapsed, and the Broncos have their first sack, and it's Mike Kroll at the bottom of the stack for his 7th sack of his rookie season.
One of the 4 new players we mentioned on defense, Mike Kroll, number 51, right in the center of your screen, gets by John Stevens. Oh, bad attempt by John Stevens. Gee whiz, he had his head on the wrong side and all.
And an injured Patriot on the play. As you look at Kroll, who made his 7th sack, that's Greg Riccozzi, we think. It is Riccozzi, who was praised repeatedly by Coach McPherson yesterday. He is the starting right guard and the backup center, and this would be a very costly loss, as McPherson said that Riccozzi, who came over after being waived for the Browns, had been a stabilizing force on that offensive line.
No doubt about it. The offensive line is critical to an offensive success, and being able to play together, get some kind of continuity in there and consistency has been a problem for this entire front of the New England line.
See pages 58 and 59.
Well, next Sunday, NFL Live kicks off your Sunday afternoon of football on NBC, 12:30 Eastern Time. Most of you will then see a great matchup, the Houston Oilers against the Washington Redskins. Some of you will see the Patriots take on the Buffalo Bills. 4 o'clock, Miami and Indianapolis. That's the lineup next Sunday on NBC, starting with NFL Live at 12:30 Eastern.
Well, let's see if we can tell what happened to Riccozzi on the right side of the screen, number 71. Let's see, appears to injure a knee, and he's getting a little tangled up right there, but so far I don't see what's happening, and I just can't tell what happened to his leg. Let's just hope that it's not serious. Grabbing that right knee down at the bottom of your screen.
Riccozzi being helped from the field. What about the speed of the rookie Mike Kroll, a first-round draft choice out of Nebraska, who has been sensational in his initial season? That has to be one of the fastest linebackers we've seen, Joe, and that speed really came into play there as he just blew by the intended blocker, John Stevens.
Sure, they move Kroll around, and they try to get him matched up on blockers that they think he can beat, and they're doing a fine job of it. But it is his speed and his quickness that enables him to get back there and harass the quarterback.
Vance Johnson awaiting McCarthy's punt.
Punting into the wind, I might add. I wouldn't expect to see one of those big, long spirals this time.
I don't know what the holdup is. Now they're ready. Game tied at 3 with 5:45 left in the first half from Foxborough. From his own end zone, McCarthy sends it on its way. Not a good kick, low, taken by Johnson, made a fair catch at the 42-yard line. I thought he had some room to run, but decided to fair catch it, and it will be a good field position after a 47-yard kick. Here's our Schick Tracer 10-minute ticker. Late starting games, Cleveland 10-zip, no score out in Phoenix. Seattle with a 10-3 lead. Next Saturday, it'll be Navy invading South Bend to take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. That's a 4 o'clock Eastern time start right after the Breeders' Cup here on NBC. Breeders' Cup at noon, and then Notre Dame football at 4 next Saturday on NBC. On first down, Greg Lewis bounces to the outside, burrows his way for about a yard. McPherson told us that the defense, the numbers were a little misleading, so bad against the pass because they want to stop the run. In fact, they're 6th in the NFL against the run, last against the pass. They have done a good job against the run today, true to form.
Yeah, I think the only statistic that Coach McPherson is concerned with is the win-loss statistic. This is a good one here that you see on your screen. They haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher, and that's one of the reasons they've been successful for a few games.
Only allowed 1 yard there. Draw play. And again, nothing on the ground. Patriots met it right away. Andre Tippett and David Howard stacking it up. Lewis had no chance.
Oh, no. Well, Andre Tippett, number 56 in the center of your screen. I mean, he's not going anywhere. He's just holding that line of scrimmage. He and Howard, the fellas just hung right on there, and Agnew, they didn't get pushed off the line, and they controlled the line of scrimmage. I'm a little surprised to see Denver not passing the ball more because the wind is going with them, as you see Greg Riccozzi being shuttled off the field to have that right knee examined.
Steve Sewell on the field on third down. Riccozzi with a strained right knee. Elway, plenty of room to run. Dives for a first down to the Patriot 45-yard line where he's tackled by Tim Gordon. Second key scramble by John Elway for a first down. This one covered 13 yards.
In the first quarter, Elway broke a third down and long situation. Here, he doesn't have a receiver downfield. Heck, they're all covered, but watch him take off on the right side of the screen, and John doesn't do any sliding here. He knows he has to get the first down, and he fights his way forward to get every single yard of it.
Elway at 6'3" and 215 pounds, battering for a first down and going over the 2,000-yard rushing mark for his career.
You know, there's only 2 other quarterbacks that have done that 3 times. One's Randall Cunningham and the other's Jim Zorn. So Elway's really in a class by himself when it comes to that stat.
Over the middle, incomplete, and almost wasn't picked off. Let's see. Eugene Lockhart with the interception of the tipped ball off the hands of Robert Perryman. Now they say incomplete.
Well, there's going to have to be some definite proof that this ball was caught. If they decide to review it, they may not even decide to review this thing. Let's see if we can tell from this replay if Lockhart's able to hold on to the ball. Tipped by Andre Tippett off to the right side of the screen, and I don't really know if he caught that ball or not.
Well, there's no way you can conclusively tell. So it remains Denver's football. Break for the Broncos there. Elway from the shotgun. Lays it up. That one broken up. Again, good defense by the New England secondary. Mark Jackson had it knocked away by Mickey Washington.
On the left side of the screen, you see Mickey Washington break this up. If the ball's out a little bit farther, there's a chance for a completion. Here you see the receiver trying to fight back into the inside for the pass. The ball was just thrown a bit too far inside, and Jackson couldn't get in there to make the catch. It's good defense. Hey, let's leave it at that, huh? Good
Washington
defense.
actually could have had the interception. It kind of went between his hands. As it was, he was able to break up the pass. Good position by the defenders of the Patriots so far. Blitz coming on Elway. Quickly unloads it complete to Jackson. And Mark Jackson stopped short of the first down by Marion Hobby and Tim Gordon. A good defensive series that time by the Patriots as they prevented Jackson from running after he caught the football.
A good defensive scheme against John Elway's offense that time. I think Joe Collier knew something. He showed the blitz. He already knew where Elway would have to go with that ball, and then the secondary closed quickly on the receiver. There's Joe Collier right there, the defensive genius of these New England Patriots. Started here in 1960, the first year the Patriots played football.
John Elway has hit only 1 of his last 8 passes, so Horan must punt. And Irving Fryer now is deep for the Patriots. First time today we've seen him in that role. Horan's punt, though, will sail into the end zone for the touchback. Well, next Saturday, hope you'll join us at noon Eastern Time. We'll be at Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky for America's Day at the Races, the Breeders' Cup. 7 races worth $10 million. The Breeders' Cup Classic, the world's richest race at $3 million, the highlight of the afternoon with the most quality depth it's ever had in the 8 runnings of the Breeders' Cup. Hope you'll join us. I'll be there. John Gilmartin, our director today, will be there, along with Carol Larson and Jenny Uber-Kincaid, who are on our crew today, all heading toward the Breeders' Cup, and hope you'll join us next Saturday at noon Eastern Time.
But have you been handicapping the races, Tom? I want to know who's going to win those races.
You know, there's a national pick 7 this year on the Breeders' Cup, which is going to be worth millions. But picking 7 winners that day is going to be next to impossible.
Oh, we can do it. We can do it.
I'll get your money before I leave. First down play for Hugh Millen. Looks like he's setting up a screen, and it's incomplete. Off the hand of Russell. That looked a little rough from the beginning.
Oh, but I tell you, Cragen's all over the field, and so is Mecklenburg. That was good defense on Hugh Millen's attempted a screen pass. There's Cragen. I mean, this guy is all second, third, fourth effort. He prides himself on going that extra mile. He says, sure, they call me a small nose tackle. He said, maybe I am, but I love to play this game, and he is all second effort.
Russell, not much. Fred Childress has replaced Greg Riccozzi at the right guard spot. And that run did not net much as we approach the 2-minute warning. Mecklenburg got the tackle. And the clock will stop for the 2-minute warning. Timeout at Foxborough Stadium. The Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots tied 3-3. 2 minutes remaining in what has been a defensive-dominated first half. Broncos and the Patriots tied 3-3. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, our Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report. Bob Costas and company on hand with all the scores and highlights for you. Stay with us. And don't forget, at the conclusion of the game, we'll be presenting the Avis We Try Harder Award given to the MVP. Hugh Millen dodging would-be rushers, rolling out and throwing to Fryer, who made the reception at the 30-yard line. It'll be close to the first down, depending on the mark. Charles Dimry drove him back. And a timeout is taken, stopping the clock at the 1:45 mark. Denver called it. I believe it's going to be short of the first down. We'll check it out when we return.
When the Mazda Miata first came along, it was like nobody else's baby. But then it was designed to be different. Now the Miata will be joined by 5 new Mazda cars, like the MX-3 Sports Coupe with the only V6 in its class, and the 929 luxury sedan with dual airbags standard. Cars as pure and personal as the Miata. Designed to be different? You bet. The Miata was just the beginning.
That may not have looked like much of a catch by Irving Fryer because it didn't make the first down, but I tell you what it did do. It kept the clock going to where Denver had to spend one of their timeouts. Irving Fryer is playing big. He's playing fine football. He hasn't been blessed with the passing offense here over the years with the Patriots, but Fryer is at the top of his game right now.
A career best performance against Minnesota last week for the rejuvenated Irving Fryer this year. McCarthy to punt. High snap pulled down. Vance Johnson sees it bounce, tells his teammates to get away from it. And it will roll dead at about the 43-yard line. Only a 28-yard punt by McCarthy, giving the Broncos good field position.
Well, first there's an awful high snap for him, and then he's anxious, I'm sure, to get it off, but his left foot slipped. You see, folks, this turf is so soft that the kickers and the punters have a problem with their planting foot. That time McCarthy's left foot clearly slipped on that soft sod, and consequently Denver has excellent field position.
It's real sandy, that turf. Exposed sand in many spots, especially in the center of the field. So Elway and the Broncos, good field position with 1:34 and 2 timeouts left. Elway's pass across the middle into Patriot territory, complete for a first down to Steve Sewell. He's finally wrestled down, got about 11 yards, maybe 12, to the 45 of New England. Andre Tippett finally wrestling to the turf with help from Maurice Hurst. Clock ticks away.
At the Patriots 45.
Broncos ready again from the shotgun. Complete to the 40-yard line. That time Russell made the reception. Hurst and Washington all over him. And Elway will spend one of his 2 remaining timeouts. 1:04 left for Dan Reeves and the Broncos, trying to break this 3-3 tie before intermission. Just 1 timeout left for the Broncos now, as Dan Reeves says this Denver team is right where it needs to be, in first place. And after a disappointing season a year ago with a 5-2 record and first place in the AFC West. Joe Collier, his former defensive coordinator. Coach McPherson not allowing the Denver reporters to interview Collier and the other former Denver assistants this week. Said it would be distracting from the effort of the team to get ready for the game. Inside the 40-yard line, it's 2nd down for the Broncos. Handoff, nothing. Steve Sewell stopped in his tracks by Garin Barris.
Garin Barris, he read this play all the way at the top of the screen, number 90, folks. Barris, who has a bad set of knees himself, makes a fine play. Elway goes deep, wide open. Catch made by Russell. He got away from Tim Gordon for a 40-yard reception. Elway to Russell for 40, and the Broncos threatening. They call a timeout, stopping the clock with 38 seconds left. Russell finds a hole in this zone coverage. He actually goes by the defender. Now there's no deep help back there. It has to be a bust in the secondary as Tim Gordon, 41, gets over there awful late. Nice protection, but a safety or one of the secondary players didn't get over there in that designated area. So Russell with that big reception. He's a rookie out of Arkansas, 4th-round draft choice, who is the 5th all-time leading receiver at Arkansas, had 91 receptions there, an All-American and All-Southwest Conference choice, who also competed in track. He ran the 110 hurdles. In high school, was an All-American in football and in track, and he set sail down the sideline for that 40-yard catch, which has the Broncos threatening just before halftime. 1st and goal from the 3. I look for some passing to be done here. I mean, there are only 38 seconds left, and the Broncos have no more timeouts.
High formation in the backfield. Play action pass. Elway rolls for the end zone. Almost intercepted. There's a flag down. Elway should not have thrown that one, intended for Clarence Kay. The Patriots had position. Fred Marion almost made the interception.
Well, you saw John Elway waving his hand a bit. He thought that Kay would break back in the other direction. Actually anticipated his receiver's move, but there's a flag on the play, and we'll see what happens. Let's see where Elway thinks Kay should have gone. As he's rolling, there's Kay. Now I guess he expects him to stop and go back, but he didn't do it, and the ball's nearly intercepted.
Elway got away with one there in what has been a turnover-free first half.
Offside on the defense. The defensive left end. Half the distance to the goal. Still first down.
Ray Agnew apparently lining up offside. So half the distance. 33 seconds left now. That only took 5 seconds. First and goal just beyond the 1. Sewell in the backfield next to Elway. Elway will pass. Now he rolls. Incomplete.
Once again, folks, if you're wondering why Denver's not sticking that ball in there, if they ran the ball on that last down and was stopped, they'd have to line up Hurley to get the thing off. Let's see where the ball ends up. I know it gets tipped someplace and then bounce around. Boy, oh boy, look at all that contact in that end zone. My goodness. That's allowed, though. Once the ball's tipped, the contact is allowed. Second and goal for the Broncos. 25 ticks left.
Greg Lewis in the backfield, split backs, handoff, didn't get in. Stopped short, and the clock ticks. Center of the Patriot defense stopping Lewis. And now, why is the clock stopped? Official timeout to unstack them, I guess.
That's exactly right. They have to get him off to unstack the pile. But I can't see Denver running anything but a play-action pass right here. I hope it's not a clock play. I hope Elway has a play-action pass. Well, it's going to have to be a clock play now.
And it stops it with 5 seconds left. Elway and just slamming the ball to the turf. That's an incomplete pass, and the field goal unit comes on. Broncos had first and goal from the 3. A penalty got the ball to almost the 1. They couldn't get it in the end zone. They'll settle for 3.
McPherson's defense, good team play. Good defense by the Patriots, holding Denver to a field goal attempt.
And Mr. Automatic, David Treadwell, who has a field goal already.
You know, that's a tough nickname, man, Mr. Automatic. I know a couple of Treadwell's teammates gave him that nickname after the game with Kansas City last week, but old David's going to have a tough time living up to Mr. Automatic. I mean, that means that you don't miss, doesn't it?
What's happening here now? Well, I don't know what's going on. Mass confusion reigns on the field. Dale Hamer steps in to stop things. Something about the clock not being correctly started.
Oh, I can't believe that.
Now Elway's on the field. They've got 12 men. If they snap the ball, Elway just gets off in time. And the kick is good. John Elway trotted out on the field. Fortunately for the Broncos, who didn't see him out there, he got back off before the ball was snapped. McPherson wants to know what's going on, and frankly, so do I.
Well, they put more time back on the clock, Coach McPherson, Tom. I'll tell you why. Elway threw an incomplete pass. That stopped it, but the clock kept rolling whenever they had the guys on the pile. So the officials went back over the play and decided the incomplete pass occurred at about 13 seconds. They put that much time back on. He's still arguing about the clock, but the time was put on because it was an incomplete pass, and the clock should have been stopped at that point.
Anyway, Treadwell kicked it through, and now we have 7 seconds on the clock. They reset it, I believe, to 15, Joe. I think I heard Dale Hamer say reset the clock to 15 seconds.
15, 13, you know, it really doesn't make any difference. Treadwell's going to kick the field goal there, whether it's 4 seconds left or not. The only difference it would make is having Denver have to tee the ball up now and kick it off, and New England actually has an opportunity to return it. I can't believe Treadwell will kick this ball deep.
Well, it's 6-3 Broncos. The key play, a pass 40 yards from Elway to Derek Russell, setting up a first and goal. Broncos couldn't punch it in, but do get the Treadwell field goal to take a 6-3 lead.
You saw Treadwell replacing some of that turf. It's awful slippery out there, and he wants to make sure that foot of his, the left foot, gets planted before he hits the ball.
Treadwell's kick, and it does sail deep into the end zone. That'll be a touchback, and so the Patriots will get one play.
Well, I mean, if you know you're going to kick it that far, why not? He does have the wind with him. David Treadwell did have the wind with him and did just what the situation called for. Kicked it through the end zone.
So Hugh Millen will come on to try one Hail Mary pass, we would presume, and hope you'll stay with us for Costas and Company, the Domino's Pizza NFL Live report with all the halftime activities, scores and highlights from this week in the NFL.
Well, I think we've seen a good first half here, Tom. I don't think this game has swung in either direction. Momentum might be a little bit on Denver's side going in, but Hugh Millen and his New England team has to feel pretty good, only being 3 points down so far.
It's been good defense, too, not inept offense, don't you think?
That's right. It's been good defense on both sides.
Millen will just down it with a little running play to bring the first half to a close. So the Broncos in the final minute of the first half get the 40-yard pass from Elway to Russell, setting up Treadwell's go-ahead field goal. McPherson still arguing with officials, but it's Denver 6, New England 3. We'll be back after these messages from the NFL and from your local NBC station.
Okay, Bob Costas with Bill Parcells and O.J. Simpson. In the next segment, we'll run down all the scores, show you some of the highlights, but right now just a chance to talk a bit about a few of the high points from earlier today. The Oilers are off to the best start in franchise history. They're 7-1 after pounding the Bengals 35-3. Cincinnati now 0-8. Now, next week, Houston goes to Washington at RFK. Now, Washington will either be 7-1 like the Oilers, or if they beat the Giants tonight, they'll be 8-0, and the obvious talk is going to be about the possibility of a Super Bowl preview.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. I think right now they're the best two teams in their conferences. Of course, I think Washington is playing the best football there is, and this is a big game for Houston. One, they haven't been great on the road. This year, at least they're winning on the road. They lost one game to New England, but they're struggling on the road, and I think if they can go into Washington, they don't necessarily have to win. They just have to play a great football game. You know, in the past, they go on the road and they don't play up to their ability. They just have to play up to their ability, and then I think everyone will finally start taking them really seriously for the Super Bowl, because they always get in the playoffs and get beat right away when they get in the playoffs.
From a coach's perspective, what is that level of ability? How good are they?
Oh, I think they're very good. And like O.J. said, they had been very inconsistent on the road in the past. But, you know, they've come to New York, and they've won at Miami. Didn't play their top games, as O.J. said, but they managed to win. And that's something that they weren't managing to do in past years. I think the Oilers have a greater sense of urgency, particularly on the part of Warren Moon. You know, he's running out of time to win. They've been close quite a few times. I think this may be what he thinks is his best shot. Probably got the rest of the team convinced of that, too.
Another interesting game was at the Superdome in New Orleans. The Saints were about a touchdown favorite over the Bears. Bears came in at 5-2. Saints, of course, 7-0. The Bears wind up winning the game 20-17. Now, how about this? You're the coach. You're Mike Ditka, right? Jim Harbaugh has completed 2 of 19 starting the last drive. They go, let's see, 52 yards in 4 plays in 1 minute. 3 of those plays are Harbaugh passes, and he completes them all on the last drive, including a 12-yarder to Tom Waddle for the game-winning touchdown. He winds up 5 for 22 for the game, but you win it.
Well, those are the kind of things, Bob, that win divisions for you. This win for the Bears here is really monumental. They're struggling along in the Central. There's a couple teams close to them. This win right here, I think, gives them impetus for the whole second half of the season. It's really a great win for the Bears, and you could smell it because Ditka was kind of setting it up all week. We don't have much of a chance against these guys. These guys are the greatest. You knew the Bears would be ready to play well.
Well, you're talking about 2 physical football teams, and Chicago will always play a physical game, and they play these type of teams well. This is not a team with a great offense, New Orleans. So you knew Chicago would be in the game, and all they have to do is be in the game to give themselves a chance to win at the end, and that's exactly what they did.
The other scores from earlier today, and we'll run down all the late scores a bit later. San Francisco beat Philadelphia 23-7, and they sacked Eagle quarterbacks 5 times and forced 4 turnovers. Atlanta won 31-14 at home against the Rams, and in the score you were all waiting for, yes, Green Bay shut out Tampa Bay 27-0, and the Buccaneers turned the ball over 8 times and got sacked 6 times. And we'll see you in a bit.
First half in the books at Foxborough, and the defense reigns with the Broncos holding a 6-3 lead on the Patriots, and still in anybody's ball game. The two teams appear to be pretty evenly matched after the first half.
The defenses on both sides are playing fine. I mean, Elway made a couple of big third down, first downs that got them into position to get the field goals. So right now it's a defensive struggle.
All right, we'll rejoin NFL Live right after this word from your local NBC station.
Domino's Pizza NFL Live Halftime Report. Brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Nobody knows like Domino's how you like pizza at home.
Okay, Bob Costas with O.J. Simpson and Bill Parcells. Let's start things out by checking on Cleveland and Pittsburgh. And, Juice, the Browns have a 10-7 lead early in the third quarter on their home field. Nightfall already in Cleveland because of the late start.
Well, despite the fact that Pittsburgh scored right before the half came, I got to give Bill Belichick a lot of credit. He's done a great job with this team. His backer, Eddie Johnson, is out of the game. He's got 5 or 6 DBs on IR, and he's still getting the job done. If they win this game, they're 4-4, and I really have to ask myself, you know, thinking about the problems that the Giants have. I'm going to ask you, Bill, who do you think they missed the most? Belichick or you, the Giants, that is?
What a loaded question this is.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to respond to that with this, O.J. I think we should call Buffalo and find out if Jim Kelly would rather have you or Thurman Thomas.
Case closed. Do not give him the last word. Have you learned that?
Yeah.
All right. A couple of great active runners are taking part in the game today at the Silverdome. Barry Sanders has 11 carries for 39 yards for the Lions in the first half. Emmett Smith, 13 carries for 67 yards for the Cowboys. They've just gone to the third quarter. They're even up at 10 apiece. Denver is playing at Foxborough. The game some of you folks are watching. David Treadwell has 2 field goals. Jason Starofsky has 1 for the Patriots. It's 6-3 Broncos at the half. Bill?
Well, this is where we think that personal thing might be involved, and it looks like the Patriots defense has given Denver about all they want. They're playing very well. It's a close game, and Denver better watch it, because New England, you can tell emotionally their players are jumping around. They're gang tackling. They're diving for every ball today. New England's after Denver.
Now, Seattle is a team that has a record of 4-4, but they've won 3 of their last 4. And 5 of their final 8 games, including today's against San Diego, are up in Seattle. So they've got a shot at either the AFC West Championship or perhaps more likely to be in contention for a wild card. They lead at the half over San Diego, 10-6. Minnesota and Phoenix, halftime in this one, 7-0 in favor of the Vikings. Rich Gannon with a touchdown pass to Hassan Jones. The field very wet due to a heavy pregame rain. Now, these are finals from earlier today. Houston is 7-1. Cincinnati 0-8, and the Bengals really didn't have a chance. As you see, Boomer Esiason didn't even suit up for Sam Weich's team. Eric Wilhelm was at quarterback, and more trouble, Warren Moon was the quarterback for the other team. He threw 3 touchdown passes in the first half, then coasted from there. Haywood Jeffries caught this one. Now goes the deep throw to Drew Hill off the fake right and the heave left, and Hill is behind everybody for the touchdown that covers 61 yards. Wilhelm was intercepted twice, one of them by Chris Dishman. Dishman has had either an interception or a fumble recovery in 7 consecutive games, and Houston goes on to win it 35-3. Their record is now 7-1. Next week they play at RFK against the Redskins, a game that some people will point to as a Super Bowl preview. The Redskins, if they lose tonight to the Giants, will also be 7-1 like Houston, or perhaps they will be 8-0, Juice.
Well, you got to give Houston credit. They played against their arch rival, Cincinnati, albeit they're a horrible football team this year. They beat them the way they should have beaten them. They got out of the game with no injuries, and they should be ready for next week against Washington.
Well, New Orleans thought they were ready for the Bears. The Saints, however, fall from the ranks of the unbeaten, losing 20-17 at the Superdome. Jim Harbaugh, for most of the day, was completely stymied by the sensational Saint defense. 1970 for the Saints against the Lions is longer in the entire history of the league. Brad Muster capping a third-quarter drive, diving in from 6 yards out for the Bears as they try and stay in the game. Bobby Hebert's favorite target was Floyd Turner. Hit him with a 65-yard touchdown, then this 9-yarder. Turner had 9 receptions for 180 yards. But on the final drive of the day, Harbaugh, who had been 2 for 19, completed 3 straight, including the game winner to Tom Waddle, the 12-yarder with 54 seconds to play, gives the Bears the victory, 20-17. Bill?
Well, you could almost smell this coming. You know, Ditko all week long, we don't have much of a chance against these guys. You know he's not telling his team that. And I'll tell you, every year in the NFL, team that's pretty good like the Bears, but not on the level they used to be, they get the opportunity to say, hey, we can really do this. I think this kind of win in New Orleans today gives the Bears a lot of impetus for the second half, and I know it does their confidence a world of good. Better watch them.
We got to zip through the rest of these scores. San Francisco takes its record to 4-4. Philly drops to 3-5, and the Eagles are hanging by a thread in terms of playoff possibilities. 23-7 the final score. San Francisco's defense forced 4 turnovers. They sacked Eagle quarterbacks 5 times. Chris Miller threw for 3 touchdown passes today. Atlanta 4-4, Rams 3-5, 31-14 Falcons in Atlanta today. And Green Bay sacking Tampa Bay quarterbacks 6 times and forcing 8 turnovers, 5 interceptions, and 3 fumbles. The Packers win the Battle of the Bays 27-0 in Tampa today. And we'll send you back for second half action in just a moment. See you a bit later in the day.